Whoa. Hi, I'm Phil from Driftworks and I'm back on the F80 today, trying to make this thing sound half decent. The 2-into-1 downpipes that we made, I think they've worked out really well. I'm still not happy with the sound though, obviously. I'm not sure whether the sound of an S55 is fixable or not. I don't believe it is. A lot of people in the comments in the last video were recommending this exhaust or that exhaust. I've seen them all. None of them sound good. Everything is too loud. Everything that people think sounds like a Jay-Z doesn't sound like a Jay-Z. I know what Jay-Z's sound like. I've had a few in my ears. So yeah, I'm still on this quest to improve the sound, and my quest is not to end up with a car that sounds like a Jay-Z. I just want it to sound not broken, not like the exhaust's fallen off, and to be a reasonable volume, but with really nice tone to it. So yeah, like I say, not sure if it's possible, but I'm going to continue my quest to see whether I can make it happen with just chopping some bits up myself here. So I've bought one of the cheap 3.5-inch mid-pipe kits here. And my idea is that I'd like to really have a big 3.5-inch cat in this, but I'm not willing to spend the money on a proper HGS or Gessie cat for this and it potentially not work. So what I'm probably going to do is see whether I can fit a gigantic silencer in here first. But I figured for the sake of you guys, who are probably more interested in having a very loud car than I am, I figured I'd probably just try and fit this first of all, just as it is, and see how horrific it is. So I'm just going to crack on with that and get choppy on this back box. But first you can watch some footage of me pulling the car onto the ramp and revving it like a 5-year-old. So you got some reference before and after, I guess. No fear. Right, there you go. All in place. Yeah, sorry I didn't show you the actual process of doing this, but yeah, one-man band today. It actually wasn't my intention to fit this. I was just going to offer it up and have a quick look at what I would need to do and maybe come in tomorrow because it's Friday afternoon. But yeah, I had a look at it and was like, it doesn't look too hard. And it's taken start to finish about 1 hour and 30, so not bad going really at all. Fits pretty well. It's got a nice bit of adjustability in sort of the joints and things like that. And it's reasonable quality for something that's no doubt made in China, sort of to quite a price point. But no, I imagine this is coming straight back off tomorrow. But I'm going to start it up, drive it home, see how much it makes my ears bleed. Let's see how horrific this sounds then. Valves are staying closed then. Christ alive, that's noisy. Not sure if it's something I've done wrong, but this has ended up hitting this bracket twice. I've reset it twice. pushing it up and doing these clamps up nicely. But yeah, it's done it again. So I've just taken a bit of fire and a hammer to it, just squared it off on that edge there, which hopefully will give it the clearance it needs. Also, if anybody's fitting one of these things, I just found that shortening this bolt here, cutting the end off it, actually makes things a lot better ground clearance wise. If you don't shorten it, this ends up stabbing into here. So I've lived with the mid-pipe on the car for a week now. So when you first heard me trying that car on the ramps, it did sound pretty horrifically loud. A big part of that was cold start. Well, two things actually. So first thing that I've done is something I did to my M2 pretty much when I first bought it years ago, was remove the active audio. So I've got the, I think it's Bimmer Code app that I still had. So I just reinstalled that and got rid of the audio playing through the speakers in here. Makes a massive difference to me, at least. Just obviously it's a real sound, then you can actually hear what's going on and what's terrible about the exhaust that you've got in the car. But actually, it did make it sound a lot better. And the second, more important thing is that I mapped the car with MHD app. In doing that, I've gone to a stage 2 plus map, which is the 98 RON map, which is the good fuel that we can get here. And at the same time, removed cold start, but most importantly of all, got rid of completely the overrun, or I can't even bring myself to say the word because it's so embarrassing, burble. So I really hate shart and fart map. I think it's just the most embarrassing thing, particularly on like a not very good sounding engine. I've got some extremely loud cars, and on some of them, like the Lamborghini, has massive overrun fart and shart, if that's what you want to call it. But because the engine sounds good, that actually adds to it.
The hang of warming the tyres up here before. He did say he'd been here once before. How old is it then? But he hasn't been in this car before. He's on the line now.
You've got to start with something sounding good before you make it loud, is how I figure. And that's made a huge difference to this. I still prefer driving it in the efficient mode for my old ears, for whatever reason. It's got that right balance of volume sort of for the cruise, so hopefully you can hear me relatively well now. But then when you want to push on, it opens things up and sounds quite loud and quite raughty. And I'm not going to go so far as to say I like it, because it's still not quite there. But I do think that starting off at the very front of the exhaust system with my own front pipe, downpipe design, the merge has made everything that I do from that point on, sorry you can hear horns, it's Birmingham, everything that I do from that point on has made it sound kind of better. There's still obviously the question as to whether the back box itself is causing some of this. I know I came up with loads of ways to describe the sound of it in the last video, but what I'm hearing now mostly that annoys me, particularly on idle, is kind of this airy sound, and I can only describe it as very similar to when on an air ride car, like my Impala has 2 air pumps in the back of it. When you don't have the engine on and you're just charging the air system, it's just this pulsing air sound that sounds pretty dreadful. That's what the exhaust on idle sounds like to me on these things. I'll show you actually when we get to work. Jay's cracking on with the S15, getting that back together. He's also been painting the engine bay on his own E30, which looks sick. But this is what we're looking for. Not that. Yeah. This has an amazing sounding, lovely big block V8 in it, but that's not what we're here to listen to. What we're here to listen to is the sound of an F80 M3 on idle. Air pumps. Am I wrong? That's what it sounds like. And in the stash of all the exhausts I've made over the years, leftovers and otherwise, I think at the back there is a HKS Super Dragger. Maybe I should fit that for the full Jay-Z effect. That probably upset the internet somewhat. So that is probably going to be the end of this video. There's no conclusion, but there is progress, I think. I'll probably call it progress. I am going to get a cap for it, something suitable, sort of a Gessie or something like that. High flow, not going to upset the power. Not that I really care about power on that car at all. A standard one has too much power for the amount of grip that the car has. But yeah, kind of progress, I think. To summarise, I think that my downpipes are actually, you know, a pretty unique thing from what I can hear in other people's videos on the interweb. I might consider manufacturing them. I'm gonna have a chat with Adam at Fabco and see what it would actually take to create a jig. It's not the cheapest. Obviously, making the part in the first place was really expensive because it's a one-off custom part, and then the jig itself is probably a lot more than that. But let me know if you're interested in it. I think it is quite unique in that you can have a catless downpipe, which is like the 2-into-1, and you can have a midpipe with no silencers in it, and there is zero drone, at least with my setup with that back box. So I do think that's quite unique from what I've heard about everybody who's put 3.5-inch midpipes onto catless 3-inch downpipes. So yeah, let me know if you're interested. It'd obviously be a relatively expensive part compared to a lot of them because it's a lot more complex. But yeah, let me know. And in the meantime, I'm going to crack on with something else which I don't like about the car, which is the handling aspect of it. So I'm going to fit a set of HT Monopro coilovers to it, get it sitting a bit lower, and have a look at fitting these, which we had in stock. Brand new set of work VS. They're kind of more non-M3 spec, these particular wheels. They're for a BMW, but like the F30 or something like that. But that actually works out pretty well with the brake clearance, particularly on the front with the massive carbon ceramics that I've got. So I'm probably going to end up running spacers anyway. We're just going to stick them on the car and see whether they look any good, but that's for next time. For now, I guess thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to a grumpy old man grumble about the noises of modern cars these days. And thanks very much to those of you that support us by buying through the Drift Workshop, even if it's just hats, t-shirts, whatever it is. It all goes towards spending money on doing dumb stuff with cars, as you can see. So yeah, see you next time.